afternoon. My name is Mrs. Brucky, and I have the pleasure of being one of Thornwood's Thunderbrarians. We love being a place where people can think inside their heads, not only to get work done, but also to enjoy the creative process. And there's many corners of this library where sometimes people just go to be able to think and to be. And a few years ago, I won't say how many, one of those students was Miss Adilah Muhammad. And the coolest part about her is that not only did she make the best of her time here at Thornwood, she went out into the world to learn more, to be more, and is still in the process of becoming her most genius self, sharing her fashion, sharing what she's learned with the students here at Thornwood High School, and then going out and sharing it with the world in by having her fashions produced and distributed through New York and Chicago. So let's give her a round of applause as she shares about her journey.
How's everybody? Good. So shout out to my students who came.
Me.
Yeah.
Hey, Miss Muhammad.
Just thought before I start, I'm gonna say congratulations. You just got extra credit points. So
Thank you.
Go ahead and go ahead and text your friends like you should have came, you should have. And another special announcement. I think it's a few people who maybe did Mr. Henderson's class. I don't know, but he said if you showed up, extra credit for you too as well.
You'll all be getting an exit ticket, so you guys can show this as proof, okay?
Yes. All right, so I'm gonna start. As Ms. Ricky said, I am Ms. Muhammad, and I run an apparel brand called Adilah M after myself. So title is Clothing Brand. I attended Thornwood High School as a freshman in 2006. Okay, I graduated in 2010. Okay. So for those who are wondering how old I am, I'm 26 years old. Okay. So when I was here at high school, I knew I wanted to be a designer. Interesting thing, I never took the class that I'm teaching, which is intro to fashion. School was set up a little bit differently. When I was here, we had like block periods, which meant back then you took a class each semester. So you never had the same class. So you would have like an English class and maybe like some other classes one semester, then the next semester you would switch all new classes. And then we also have what was called houses, which determined what kind of electives you would take. So I wound up taking arts and communication, thinking that it was gonna like lead me into fashion, which it didn't. That was health and human services. So they were like all the kids who did all the cooking, did all of the child development classes. They walk around with the bellies, and they did fashion. Instead, what I did while I was here, I just took classes that I knew that they had that may relate to fashion. And so, on top of like being an athlete and some other stuff, I basically tried to make the most of the resources that were here. So one of the classes I actually took that I researched was called CAD. I don't know if they still do CAD here anymore, but CAD, where I learned how to design figures on a software, which wound up being very helpful once I got to college. Also took like a few art classes. I don't know if anybody got Miss Kyorpis, but she was actually, finger snaps back there. Miss Kyorpis was actually my art teacher. She had just came here, going to high school to teach from Hillcrest. And I actually showed her, I wasn't going to show y'all, but I showed her the stuff that I actually did in her class because I randomly found it the other day. And I was like, oh my gosh, you would not believe that I still got this stuff. And so once I left high school, I went to North Carolina A&T. I went there, which is in Greensboro, North Carolina, to study fashion merchandising and design. Okay. While there, did extracurriculars and everything else, got to know people. And the reason why I'm like emphasizing, the fact that I was doing other things is because I think sometimes we kind of come to school and we go home and not like getting to know like the person next to you or the things that's happening in school and how it should be helpful. To branch out and know people and talk to people. And when I was in college, I started like a few initiatives and would try to link them back to fashion. So I did like Earth Day fashion shows where I get to like use newspaper and make dresses, or I I did like one where I sent Walmart. They had featured it one time. I had, you know how like, I don't know why like people do this. You know how like y'all go to the grocery store and then for some reason like your mom doesn't throw away like the trash bags. I mean like the little plastic bags, and they just like put like bags on top of bags, and now you got like a mountain of like those plastic bags randomly that have no use in the house besides they just collected. So I had a bunch of Walmart bags like that. I just made dresses out of them for the Earth Day fashion show, and you know, it basically to help get sponsors and stuff for our fashion show, that they can see what we're doing. Yeah. So I just basically tried to stay creative, and I was just trying to challenge myself on different things that I wanted to do. It wasn't until after college that I knew for sure that I wanted to be a designer. And the reason I say after college is because it was the most chaotic moment in my life where I was nervous. I came out of school. I didn't necessarily go to a competitive fashion school, so it was hard for me to get like a job right out of college at a design place. I didn't want to move to New York without having money. I wanted to try to get it on my own and be an adult and not trying to make my mom bear the burden of everything. And so I was like, I'm gonna try to figure this out. I spent a year not designing anything, and it sucked because in my heart I was like, I'm not being creative. I'm letting thousands of dollars go to waste because I didn't do anything that I wanted to. Because I was trying to be, I don't know. I think sometimes when you get frustrated, you kind of give up on things too easily, and you're just trying to like figure out a way to like navigate the world. Don't worry, you guys are gonna get there soon and see exactly what I'm talking about. But in that year of not really designing for anything, for anybody, for anything, I just realized I was like, that's kind of what I want to do. And so I can remember I actually had just started working back at Thornwood. I was working at Abbott, so some of the people in here who know me actually are former Abbott students of mine. And I was like, you know what, this is gonna be the year I'm just going to start my clothing brand. So that was January 2017. I was like, I'm starting it, it's the first of the year, I'm gonna get it started. And as soon as I said that, I can remember, actually I take that back, it was June 2016 that I said, you know what, you shouldn't actually let your dreams go to waste. But I didn't say I was gonna start my clothing brand. And as soon as I said that, I got a call, or actually I got a message on Instagram from a show producer, and she was like, I just happened to run across your Instagram, and I see that you have like done design, but it was nothing from current, it was everything from college. She was like, I want you to be a part of my show. So I was like, oh, okay. And that was crazy because I didn't have anything designed. I just told you I went a whole year. I graduated 2014. So I went basically almost a year not designing anything. More than that, really, by the time June 2016 rolled around. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna design something for the show. And then I guess by the time I did that, I had another call, like, hey, somebody is a show producer that I know, they want you to be a part of this show. The next thing you know, I did like 4 shows by the time the year was out. Then January 1st rolled around, I said, okay, I'm gonna be a designer, I'm gonna do this. And as soon as I said that, I don't know if anybody's familiar with the rapper No Name, but she's a rapper here from Chicago, and who's like rising to stardom as we speak. Her mom reached out to my mom like, I heard your daughter designs, like No Name needs a cape for her tour. And I was like, oh, cool, which is, anybody who does LTAP, like Ms. Brooke, you do LTAP, she's actually from that program. So she's like real big within the little poetry scene. And I was like, okay, cool. I was like, let me design this. I'm nervous. I even took off work. I was supposed to be here at work, and I was like, I'm gonna take off work, finish this cake, because it was just so last minute. But it was great because I got the chance to actually go to our concert for free and see like what that looked like, the artists wearing your stuff. And then next thing you know, I think March, I got into like a designer in residence program with Macy's, where they house several other designers who are starting businesses or are somewhere in their business for clothing. So that was pretty, 2017 was like the year that I actually started to take off. And
What was that process like to get picked up by Macy's? What did you need to do? What did you have to submit, or did they find you?
Well, I think lucky for me, so this was the process. So I just, interested enough, I actually interned for somebody who worked there at one point. And I was just like, well, if I'm gonna be in Chicago, I'm not gonna move to New York and try to figure out how I'm gonna have my mom pay $2,000 in rent. I need to figure out how to make Chicago work for me. And I was like coming out of college. I remember just coming out of college and coming back home because I didn't want to go to stay where I was. But when I first came out of college and I went back home, I basically kept researching, like, is that program still exist? Does it exist? Does it exist? And then just randomly, a couple of years passed, then I just, in 2016, I just said, let me look and see if it's still there. And I just almost missed my shot to actually be a part of it. They had like 2 more information sessions before they took all applications. And I was like, you know what, I did a few shows, let's just see like if I can use that as part of the interview. And then they called me and was like, we want you to come in for an interview. Then I came in for the interview and I'm like, okay, you know, we'll see, because I actually don't have a clothing brand. And I don't know exactly what I want to design at all. I was like, I mean, there's some stuff I made, sure, it's nice, but I don't know if it communicates what I want to do as a designer. And then after I finished the stuff with No Name, literally the next week, they was like, we want you to move in because we about to start the program. Like, we want to accept you into the program. So, oddly, it just worked great. I'm not going to say everything works out that way. It just happened to work in my favor like that. So that was the fun. Anybody else got any questions? Okay. So basically, I'm downtown currently, where I run and produce all of my clothes, and I do it out of the Macy's that's on State Street. Anybody been to Block 37? So the Macy's that's across from there, that's where I do all of my production. And it has afforded me the opportunity to get to know a lot of different people. And I think the good thing about being local and being here is that, and being here at the school to teach here, is that I get to show you that it's not as far-fetched of a dream as it is. And the reason I said that is because I think some of you who are interested in fashion, like, you guys think like, down the road I can achieve it, right? I can achieve anything, but sometimes we don't realize like how we can achieve stuff like right here and right now. And even just the things that I did in high school where I'm like, well, maybe it'll work out, like I'm gonna learn a little bit here and there. Like, these were some of the tools that I actually was able to carry on to college, carry on in real life. And being able to be here to show you like, okay, yeah, I only did this like within 2 years. Like, I've built my company, you know, a little bit bigger than what I thought it was gonna initially be when I first started. When I first started, I was like, I didn't know what I was gonna do. I don't know what kind of brand I'm gonna create. I don't know who gonna sew it. I don't know how I'm gonna get into a store. I don't know how I'm gonna get anybody who's gonna do it. I mean, like I said, before I had a clothing brand, I putting it on a rapper who's been featured on SNL, being featured on Chance and stuff, being featured all types of places. And I'm like, okay, well, I never thought that would be something that can happen within a moment of just saying that that's something I am going to do. It's something I started to work towards. So it is very interesting how I got started. And even though it's the beginning, I progressed a lot faster than I thought. Much quicker as far as the connections and being able to put my clothing in different places. So yeah. Anybody got a question? Anybody in here want to start a clothing brand? Yeah. So I figured if some of you wanted to start a clothing brand, which is pretty easy. Do anybody want to share what kind of clothing brand? Possibly? No? A little shy people in here? Nobody wants to share? Okay, well, I will give you some tips on starting a clothing brand. So, one, I don't think it's necessarily that you have to know exactly what you want to do. I think that I think in some ways, even though I hate to think this fashion is like an artistry type of field, because it's not, it's completely business. But I think that like when starting a clothing brand, people are looking at the person that's trying to sell it. And I think if you're likable, I think if you show people who you really are, that sells your clothing more than just the clothes itself. And I also think if you just start off with something simple, you'll be surprised by how many people actually want to support you along the way. So even if it was something as simple as t-shirts, like it's 3 boys here, they sometimes come to my class asking me about their clothing brand because they started a clothing brand. Some of y'all may know them. They do, it's called Bank Roll Boys Apparel or something like that. And they have like t-shirts, and they always ask me about like the next thing that they can do to like grow their business. It's small, like they don't have a lot of money, but the little support that they have actually affords them to buy more and then be able to sell to other people. And I think even they were surprised when they first started, and even though they're just getting started, how when they just asked me a simple question of like, how can I get into a fashion show? That I could just say, oh yeah, you know what, somebody ironically is looking for students that are in high school and they want them to be a part of our fashion show. Like how easy it can be if you just simply start something. So I think if it's something you want to do, I mean, research. You're not going to have something perfect, and maybe the stuff you initially start designing is not going to be what you end up designing in the end. But fortunate for you, in the digital age, like nothing is impossible. The stuff that I'm able to do now, I probably couldn't do 5 years ago. Because I'm a small person. I'm not like Walmart. I'm not Target, who have like lots and lots of dollars, but now we are in a new age where everybody's like, okay, I want to work with the new person. I want to work with the person that's coming up. Just because different people are able to expand quickly and get resources that they need, that it has just taken an interesting turn for businesses everywhere. Anybody want to be a stylist? Want to be a stylist? Anybody want to do fashion photography? Okay, let me see. Well, what interests you in fashion?
I like clothes.
You like clothes? You like clothes? You like how people wear them?
I
You
like
like-
when they look different, like different.
Mm-hmm.
And I like it. Something you want to be
So you like influencers?
different stuff.
Different styles. Interesting you say that. Okay, so I'm sure everybody in here follows like an influencer on Instagram. Y'all got Instagram? Nobody got Instagram? Oh, y'all do? Okay, I'm like, because everybody follows, I'm sure be out in classes at some point on Instagram, right? So, has anybody thought about being an influencer? Okay. Okay, there we are. Y'all know people get paid to do that, right? Yeah, right? And you know, do y'all know some of them people are like y'all age? So what's stopping y'all from being influencers? How you start? Well, that's a good question. It's not as hard as you think. I know all of y'all take pictures, and I know y'all. I'll be seeing y'all in the bathroom. Y'all be at that full-length mirror. Y'all be hitting them photos. Y'all be in class trying to get the little picture in before class start, right? Well, I think you have to think about how they're taking photos too. Like they're doing the same exact thing that you're doing, except they just find people that like them. And believe it or not, even if I get people that follow me all the time that I have no idea who they are, like no idea. And in some ways, even if you want to be an influencer, like it starts here. Like it starts like in your high school where people are like following you, and then after a while, like your numbers grow. I think you would be amazed at how many people actually, even in the school, like what you're wearing or like how you look. And I think that if you always post photos all the time, those little 50 likes that you have become like hundreds of likes, becomes like 200 becomes like 1,000. Even if you, some of y'all got like pink brand, you know, from Victoria's Secret. Even if you took a picture and you just tag Victoria's Secret, like there's companies that pay people. They just happen to see it and they'll pay you for wearing their clothes. And I know everybody likes money. So it's not necessarily about starting. You're already starting, but maybe it's thinking about how you can be more engaging or attract those speakers. So I would suggest tagging brands. Even if it was something like, I don't know, let's say you got a favorite singer and the singer happens to have a clothing brand and it's their birthday. You're like, oh, it's this person's birthday, and you added them in like your cute photo. You would, it's so many companies willing to pay people to wear this stuff. Like anybody, I'm sure y'all know like Jay Versace. Like Jay Versace, even though he started out to be like the funny guy, like just think of how many times he had to post like videos of him being funny and all that other stuff. But now he has like a Reebok ad, like what Reebok is paying him. And you're literally no different from Jay Versace, who is like in your like age range, who is getting money just by posting photos and videos. So I would just say just tag people and just keep doing it.